side. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca, Joe Flacco on to Cincinnati. Browns and Bengals swapping 2026 fifth and sixth rounders for the former Super Bowl MVP. Joined Cincinnati a couple days after the Bengals lost their third straight game with backup QB Jake Browning, who threw 3 more interceptions. Bengals have been outscored 113-37 during the 3-game losing streak since losing Joe Burrow. Flacco's only win this year for the Browns before being benched against the Packers. The Bengals take on the Packers this Sunday. Meanwhile, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones fined $250,000 for an obscene gesture toward fans at MetLife Stadium. Videos on social media showed Jones quickly flashing his middle finger late in the Cowboys' win over the Jets. In college football, Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer pushing to return for Saturday's game against Texas. There is a belief that his return is possible. ALDS continues. Mariners and Tigers Game 2. Game 3 beginning in a rain delay. Coverage continues on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, I'll tell you just how many non-Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in the NFC I trust right now over Baker Mayfield. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. Powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt.
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
News. And Mr. Toby Tomplake. It's going to take some getting used to.
Yeah, I think we're actually going to have to redo this again, though, because that transition did not sound right to me when I played it over air. So we'll workshop it.
Mr. Toby Tomplay told me he had remixed the AFR intro. Hadn't heard it. He just said, give me Musso's contact.
Yeah. We've been working on it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sounds ballsy, not going to lie. Does sound ballsy.
I like it. I like the remix. We just got to get the...
Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we got a ton to do. Shea, Dixon in 15 minutes. Sean Salisbury next hour. That's because Kenny Lacy, Kyren's father, and attorney Matt Ory are going to be in our studio in hour 3, 2 hours from right now. So Sean was good enough to flip with us. He'll be with us coming up here 1 hour. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
I know we're in game week for LSU South Carolina. The New Orleans Saints won their first game. They made a move today to bring in a defensive back, which I'm excited to talk about as well. The Kyren Lacy story, however, is not going away. And as I suggested a day ago, when we learned that the Louisiana Attorney General, Liz Murrill, was opening her own independent review of Louisiana State Police's findings, that we are just now scratching the surface with this story, which I believe to be the case. And if you have not followed, earlier today, Tuesday, State Police has released new video footage of the accident, the fatal crash. And in this video footage, it shows Kyren Lacy driving his green Dodge Charger. And it's surveillance footage from a gas station showing Highway 20 as Kyren is traveling, and you will see him speed and pass vehicles. Paul, you're welcome to put this back screen if you want. And you can watch this. We have the video linked at louisianasports.net. If you haven't seen it yet, no doubt it's all over. You can go full screen, actually, Paul, if you want to on it. While this plays out, this will be probably about maybe 30 seconds or so. What you hear is Kyren's engine accelerating and then decelerating as he gets back into his lane. And then a few seconds later, you hear the impact of the crash. From the time, I'm speculating here, from the time Kyren Lacy gets back into his lane until the crash, feels like about a 3 count. That's not specific. That's me speculating. I'm going to be very clear every time we talk about this. I'm going to be very clear when I feel like I'm giving evidence or explaining the evidence and when I'm editorializing. And Muse, please let me know when you have what I asked for. One of the things that I actually used this a few weeks ago when LSU played Florida. And if you remember, there was the incident where Jabbar Jalouk slapped Joel Rogers on the field. Open hand, struck him in the face. And what I said then is, video changes everything. It's one thing to hear or read about a coach slapping a player. It's another when you see the video. It's jarring. It's true in anything. And I think the same is true here as well. I emailed it to you. Okay, don't worry about it. Sorry, lost my train of thought. In this situation, whenever you read about Kyren speeding and passing in a no-pass zone, it's one thing. When you see it, it will elicit a different response. You're seeing him in a sports car speeding and passing in a no-pass zone. And those things are undeniably against the law. And Attorney Matt Ory said that in his disclosure on Friday in the long-form evidence that he gave, that 44-minute video. No one is disputing that Kyren Lacy was speeding and illegally passing. Those things happen. The question is, if in those two things happening, did they set off the chain of events that led to Mr. Hall's death? The wreck that caused Mr. Hall's death? That's the question. And even though I know people are going to watch this video and you're going to be struck by the fact that Kyren's speeding, you're going to see that, and it's going to move you emotionally in the same way you were moved emotionally when you saw the video on Friday of Kyren 72 yards behind the wreck from a different vantage point. But there's two other things in this 11 minutes of disclosure that State Police released that continue to call into question maybe the most important part of this entire conversation that continues to happen. And I've watched every video I've listened to every interview. Every piece of evidence that's available to the public, I've consumed it all many times. I'm not going to sit here on air and be irresponsible and not have the full construct of what's been disclosed. And I will tell you, I've had many very long, off-the-record conversations about this as well. If you reconstruct the events in reverse order, the two vehicles that collided, the vehicle that Mr. Hall was a passenger in, and the Kia that struck that vehicle. The woman who was driving that vehicle, Vehicle 2, was traveling behind a gold truck. And to avoid the gold truck, she hard corrected to the left into oncoming traffic. We now know from black box data, she made a hard, sharp 70-degree turn into oncoming traffic, a half a second before impact with the vehicle in front of her, the gold truck. That woman gives her testimony in this video. She has a broken ankle. She's on the ground. The state trooper with body cam footage says, "Ma'am," that's what I was trying to play for you. You weren't able to get it? Okay. Says, "It's on my phone. We'll see if I could." This is going to be not great audio, but I'll try to play it here. Because the trooper is asking, "Ma'am, can you tell me your recollection of what happened here?"
Tell me briefly what happened. Or do you remember?
I just know the truck was stopping on brakes. The other car was trying to pass the other car.
The thing she said there is the car was stomping on brakes. The gold truck in front of her was stomping on brakes, and she was trying to avoid it. There's another man who's very adamantly giving his testimony and says something similar.
So the gold truck, what did the gold truck?
This is the trooper.
He's right here.
The gold truck slams on his brakes.
Slams on brakes to stop the Charger. The Charger swerves back in.
Okay.
And cut somebody else off, whoever was behind them.
Okay.
But then they slammed. They was on. No, the Charger. No. He swerved in front of them. They slammed on brakes, and by this time, Mr. He slips through, right?
Okay.
As he slips through, she's coming. She like to rams the back of the gold truck.
So, by the way, the bleeps are not expletives. They redact the names of the witnesses. That was the bleeps. But you could hear this man say he's stomping on brakes, and then he slips through talking about Kyren. This is the man that accused Kyren, driving the Charger, of splitting between the two vehicles that ultimately collided, which we know didn't happen. And we also know that the man driving the gold truck did not stomp on his brakes. This is an objective truth. There's video that shows it. There's black box data that shows it. And then the man driving that gold truck is the one who on Friday we saw his testimony where the trooper comes to his house, is trying to coerce him into saying he was stomping on the brakes, which he says, "I didn't stomp on my brakes. I didn't skid mark or anything." He was going 28 miles an hour, just under 29 miles an hour, which we know from black box data. So again, at the core of this whole thing, Kyren was speeding. He was speeding and he was illegally passing. We know that to be true. And he was facing the gold truck oncoming. And the assertion of state police here is that because Kyren was traveling toward the gold truck stomped on his brakes, swerved, causing the vehicle behind him to then swerve into oncoming traffic and hit the vehicle that Mr. Hall was driving. But again, the testimony of two people on site insists that the gold truck stomped on his brakes, and we know, objectively, not my opinion, that didn't happen. Kyren got back in his lane of traffic, and then a few seconds later was the impact. This is where I'll editorialize. The more of this we see and hear, it seems very clear this was a situation of distracted driving. The woman in the Kia following the gold truck was not paying attention. Within a half a second of impact of the gold truck, she corrects 70 degrees into the left lane, oncoming traffic, and hits that Kia carrying Mr. Hall. The gold truck never broke, to avoid Kyren. That didn't happen. And just because Kyren was breaking the law, and he was breaking the law, he was speeding, and he was illegally passing in a no-pass zone. Those things happen. But it's pretty clear those things didn't cause the chain reaction of events that state police is suggesting they did. And the more they try to double down on this, I think the deeper they're digging here. Remember, the Lafourche Parish District Attorney did not want to bring charges against Kyren Lacy. State police proceeded anyway. The Attorney General of the state right now is opening an independent review of all of state police's evidence. And we still have these very uncomfortable conversations to be had about a trooper trying to coerce a witness into giving testimony when on camera he's disputing it, and then the written testimony doesn't corroborate the testimony he gave, and the statement is not signed. There are so many inconsistencies here that it's almost like in releasing this video, they're trying to get your attention to look over here to take your eyes off of what's really going on. No one's disputing Kyren Lacy was speeding and illegally passing. But that doesn't mean he set off the chain of events that caused Mr. Hall's death. And I think that continues to be clear as state police continues to be unable to account for and answer the very obvious questions that persist. I'll continue to consume every piece of evidence that comes out of this, talk about it. And when warranted, I'll give you an opinion. But the fact remains, 2 people have died. It's tragic, and a lot of this feels very, very avoidable. Kenny Lacy and Matt Ory will be in studio with us in hour number 3, a little less than 2 hours from right now. Our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. Of course, our friends over at Mockler are great partners of the local teams, great partners of the Tigers and the Saints, great community partners as well. It's rare that you'll ever go to a charity function, a school fair, a church fair, anything like that, without seeing those Bud trucks. And what's cooler than being a Bud man? Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the Tigers and the Saints. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, talk with Shea Dixon next on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Goodwood, men's sexual wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. You want to feel your best? Goodwood can help. You know, it's amazing. So many times you don't know how bad you feel until you start feeling good again. I was certainly in that number years ago, and did my blood draw. They tested my hormones. I was super deficient in testosterone, had the testosterone of a 70-year-old man. I went through a pretty dramatic, stressful, life-changing event. My son was in the hospital for 9 months, and it biologically aged me. And I had no idea. I was living life like I always did. And when you start on hormone therapy and you get to healthy levels again, you realize how bad you felt. It is worth a blood test to see if you could regain that energy, that youthful feeling you once had. Learn more at yourgoodwood.com.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I'm glad you're rolling along with us here. We always appreciate our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. I always appreciate Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Talk a little recruiting with us here on Tuesday. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
I'm doing awesome. So LSU had the bye week, chance to get healthy. I would assume coaches got on the road and did a little recruiting. How did last week go?
Yeah, I think they were heavy on some self-scouting with practice and everything else. And then as the weekend got there, as Brian Kelly said, they gave them the latter part of the weekend off. But Thursday, Friday, they were all out on the road, checking in on schools, watching games on Friday nights. And really, I mean, with this new era, Matt, we've talked about it, between how many guys you retain, how many guys you're adding from the transfer portal, and then how many you're actually signing from high school. The high school number has obviously dipped from where it used to be. So they've been sitting in that 15 to 20 range of commits now for a while. And I've said, I think they end up with 20, maybe a little more than that on the high school front. And then we quickly see kind of if they go into the portal for double-digit guys again. But the point being, it's checking in on committed guys. There's a few guys still kind of out there. They're trying to flip into the class that are, could be on the team next year. But by and large, it was checking in on guys for the 2027 class, which is this crop of juniors that are the next guys up, which they still have one commitment for that class, and Peyton Houston up at Evangel.
Shea, one of the guys who we know they're trying to flip, you and I have talked about a good bit, is KJ Edwards, who since last we spoke sort of reaffirmed his commitment to Texas A&M. I know your rule, it's watch what they do, don't listen to what they say. But if Edwards is, in fact, firm to Texas A&M, where does that leave LSU for running back in 26?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. You remember that, obviously, this past cycle, Harlan Berry, who's seeing touches now, and then J.P. Lindsey, were the two guys that Frank Wilson went after kind of hard in the end in Louisiana, and both signed with LSU. But the year prior, he had circled Caden Durham as the only running back he was really after, and they end up getting him out of the Lone Star State. And that's been the same approach this time around. It's clear Frank Wilson kind of fell in love with KJ Edwards, and it's good that you mentioned KJ Edwards on the record saying that the very following day when coaches were on the road, who's in his high school and hanging out watching practice is Frank Wilson. So I don't think he's going to give up there. But, Matt, at the same time, I'm looking at a running back room that is pretty shallow on depth. I mean, 3 guys total right now that are available scholarship-wise. One of them, Juwan Johnson, that you've kind of moved positions and found a home at running back. So whether KJ Edwards does end up in this class, and look, if we're taking him at his word right now, he's firmly committed to A&M. I can make an argument that they need 2 guys out of the portal, at the minimum 1, and I think that'll be the approach whenever December hits. Shea
Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. I'm glad you brought up December, Shea. Also, since last we spoke, the the spring portal window has officially now been eliminated. I guess we're still waiting on the dates of what it'll be, but I guess it'll be the beginning of January now. You have any reaction to how that may alter roster building for next year?
It means you better get it all right before spring practice, because you wouldn't have Bernard Gooden and A.J. Halsey on this team right now if you didn't have a spring portal window. And they certainly can make a case for two of your more impactful players on defense, let alone transfers. So I think that now it was always, we had seen it in years past, right, Matt? Like leading up to kind of the initial few years now that we've experienced of the transfer portal era and two windows, and it sort of became this common rhetoric and reality that, hey, look, if you're looking for a premium guy in the spring, it's NIL-wise and rev share-wise 3 times what, you might have been able to get away with in December or, agree to in December. So I think really more than anything now, you just got to get it right in January. And we haven't seen them go heavy on the spring, but it is very notable that after spring ball ended, they said, hey, we have 2 spots we really need to shore up, and they got 2 starters who have been pretty big impact guys. So got to get it right in December and January now.
How do you feel about it?
I like it. I mean, the big thing, I think all these coaches, and look, Matt, you talk to everybody, but that across the SEC, they've been vocal about it, that are you putting this in the middle of the playoffs? I mean, and then teams can't, they're behind on recruiting or whatever it might be, and are almost penalized because they're not on the road and in home with transfers or bringing transfers to campus because they're prepping for, it used to be like SEC championship. Now it's, we're prepping for multiple rounds of playoff games for some of these teams. So I guess I'm undecided. I didn't like the multiple windows anyhow. So I think it should be all in. Let's if you can eval, you built out the staff, that's the goal these days, then I think everybody can make that decision when the season sort of ends and then go from there. And I also think there's a built-in thing, Matt, where it's almost like, I know, right, at a lot of schools, that they'll play guys in spring ball, first-team reps, everything, and probably there's a less than 50% chance they're the actual starter, but they don't want to lose them. So you give them a chance to compete, you give them a chance to have all these first-team reps, and that way they don't hit the spring portal. So it sort of eliminates that whole thing, too, for me.
I can't help but think about where you started, though, Shea. Halsey, Gooden, Joe Burrow came after spring. That was
Jaden Daniels was a March guy.
Yeah, it was pre-portal era, right there. Well, Jaden was, but Burrow wasn't in the portal era. He was a graduate transfer. But yeah, Jaden, been pretty lucrative in that spring window, man, for LSU. I kind of hate to lose it, coming out of spring practice. But you're right.
Now I'm thinking, and maybe I'm wrong, was Chadwick in the spring as well, or did they grab him right after the season?
I don't know. I don't know. But he's been great as well. The punter coming in from Memphis. So this weekend, Shea Dixon's with us, a couple more. This weekend, obviously, the Tigers turn home. They get South Carolina. Do we know yet what type of weekend this is going to be on the recruiting front?
Yeah, we're in the heart of that time of year in October where everybody's jockeying for, top guys to get on campus, and you don't really find out, hey, this guy's coming for sure until kind of later in the week, by and large, because nobody is really making official visits, so you don't have to actually have anything set in stone where the school's paying for it and everything like that. So just from talking to a number of recruits and parents, it's going to be a lot of the commits and a lot of the in-state guys, but I have seen some notable 2027 players who have said, hey, look, this is the game I've circled that I'm coming in for, and those are the guys that, you look up a year from now and they're the number 1 safety in the country or, whatever it might be. So this will be, it's not, a home Bama game. That Florida game was by far their biggest of the year so far. I don't think it'll match that, but certainly when you look at the remainder of the schedule, I think this will be one of the bigger recruiting weekends they have left.
Shea, any flip targets that we've talked about here recently? Any updates of things we should know at this point?
We talked about KJ Edwards at running back, who's committed to A&M. They obviously, J.J. Bush was a kid they were once after. Sam Pittman gets fired at Arkansas. They weren't really pushing for him anymore. He ends up at Missouri. So sort of all eyes are on Emmanuel Iheanacho, who is the number 2 offensive tackle in the country. He's called LSU his number 2 team for a long time now, but he is committed to Oregon. Oregon's playing very good football, and I think that he feels comfortable with the, coaching staff there. There's not going to be any expected turnover or anything like that, but he's got a really good relationship with Brad Davis. And this past week, I guess it was Thursday, might have been Friday, but Brad Davis was out in the D.C. area visiting with Iheanacho and the family. And I think the goal here, Matt, is get him back to campus one more time. They've done the spring visit. They did a summer official visit. He did a solo trip for the Florida game. But from everyone I talked to, it was, hey, if you really want to flip him, kind of here close to December, you got to get his mom back to campus. So I would look in the month of November if they can't get Iheanacho and his mother campus for one of these games. And then I would say, yes, hey, look, this is something to pay attention to.
He's Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Of course, on Twitter, @Shea Dixon, with us each Tuesday. Hey, man, we appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
I mean, be well. We're brought to you by Evamore, EVAMOR, Evamore.com, Evamore.com. I love getting your tweets and your texts and the messages from folks, DMs, with their bottles of Evamore. Or, when you walk into a store and you see the display, you snap a pic and you tweet it or you send it to me. Or you go to a place that doesn't have it and you ask for the manager and you say, why not? It's Evamore. It's a Louisiana product. It's delicious. It's natural artesian water. It's a healthier alternative for you, for your family. EVAMOR, Evamore.com. You want to find great local retailers near you that have Evamore, you could do that. Hit the menu tab at the website, Evamore.com, EVAMOR, Evamore.com. Hit the menu tab at the website. You'll see the store locator. Type in your address, and you'll see the store nearest you. And you can also order it online at Evamore.com. EVAMOR, Evamore.com. Drink Evamore. I do every day. And you should too. All right, we're powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Sean Salisbury, 30 minutes from right now. LSU coming off the bye. Spencer Rattler gets his first win. Lots to talk about with Sean coming up here in half an hour because Kenny Lacy, Kyren's dad, and attorney Matt Ory are going to be in our studio in hour number 3. We're looking forward to that conversation, having those two gentlemen here with us. So let me knock out a quick break. We'll go around the SEC when we continue next on AFR.
AFR.
It is time, y'all. It's time for your preseason heater safety check. I tell you about it every year. And actually, one of the things I strongly encourage you to do is join their membership club. So when you're part of the River Cities 1 Hour Air membership club, you get membership club pricing, you get priority service, and your seasonal maintenance is complimentary. So that complimentary seasonal maintenance really pays for the membership club, and it'll keep your AC running in tip-top shape for the summer and your heater running in tip-top shape for the cold weather months. So right now is the time. Before you turn on your heater, make sure you have it cleaned, tuned up, so it's running efficiently and safely for the winter months. River Cities 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. Call today and ask for the preseason heater safety check. It's 752-0001.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal. Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's. One love. Let's go.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Plowing these fields in the hot summer sun. Over by the gate, Lordy, here she comes with a basket full of chicken and a big cold jug of sweet tea.
The Tigers getting ready to take on South Carolina Saturday, Tiger Stadium. Of course, this was a great game in Columbia a year ago with lots of drama, certainly a lot of angst on the South Carolina side because of what some deemed controversial penalties that wiped away interceptions, one a pick six that would have ended the game. Y'all know I don't feel that way. You can't blindside hit a quarterback. I mean, it's a penalty. And the other one, Nuss was horse-collared. I mean, they're both pretty blatant penalties. And anyway, and by the way, don't miss a field goal at the end of the game, and you would have tied it and sent it to overtime. Who knows? But anyway, a point being, this is a dramatically different start to this season for Shane Beamer and his squad to how they finished a year ago, came into the season with so much expectation, and their offense has just been, quite honestly, not very good at all. LSU, as bad as LSU's been running the football, 15th in the conference, the one team that ranks behind LSU in the SEC in rushing offense is South Carolina, which you wouldn't expect considering Lenore Seller's ability to run the football, but no Rocket Sanders and losing so much NFL talent off that defense a year ago has really hurt this team. But Beamer was asked about last year and if they're using last year and that close loss to LSU and Columbia as motivation for this year.
No. We obviously introduced LSU last week. We had a team meeting in practice on Sunday. We had a team meeting in practice today. I haven't brought it up. You know, for me, it's more we didn't do the things in that game last year. We didn't do enough things to win the football game. When you look at, y'all have heard me talk about our plan to win and our plan to win. We didn't do enough of those last season. We ran the ball effectively, but that was helped by, I think a 75-yard touchdown run that Lenoris had, and then Rocket had a couple long ones. But we didn't do enough things to win the game. So for me, I don't think I need to bring it up. There's enough guys on our team that were here that remember last year. But again, that has nothing in so many ways to do with this year's team, because there's so many new faces. It's
factually true, but I think it also illustrates some of the complicating factors in this era for programs like South Carolina. You can put together a really good roster like they had a year ago. Rocket Sanders was a transfer from Arkansas at running back. Kyle Kennard was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He had an incredible season last year coming off the edge opposite Dylan Stewart. Tonka Hemingway, who's now in the NFL, was in the middle of that defense. Nick Emenwari. Did Emenwari go in round one? He was early round two? I couldn't remember if he was...
early round two.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if he was late round one or early round two. But again, NFL talent on that defense, that's not there. Some people have asked, man, LSU opened as a 10-point favorite. I think it's down to 8.5 now. Why? If you're asking that question, you haven't watched South Carolina. It's been a really rough start. I mean, even like the game against South Carolina State, where the final in that game ended up being one-sided, they had 3 points. South Carolina had 3 points up into the 5-minute mark of the first half. Then they had 2 punt returns for touchdowns. That's how they broke the game open, was punt returns for touchdowns. They have 6 non-offensive touchdowns so far this year on a team that isn't, it's only scoring 24 a game. They're 100th in the country in scoring offense, and they have 6 non-offensive touchdowns. It has been a real struggle for South Carolina to get going. And against this LSU defense in Tiger Stadium at night, it's a really, really, really steep hill to climb. Okay, it's after further. We'll talk much more about it as we move through the week. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. Actually, if you go to the website, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com, on the homepage, you'll see the Garrett Nussmeier testimonial. So Nuss did an NIL deal with Mr. Jim and Parish Restoration because Garrett and you all know Garrett's engaged. He and his fiance bought a home. That home had mold. Well, they hired Parish Restoration to come spray and knock out the mold. So you've heard Garrett's testimonial airing on maybe on the station. Maybe you've heard that. If you want to go read it, you can see it there at parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. It's Parish Restoration and parishrestoration.com. Good enough for us. Good enough for me. Check them out. Commercial or residential buildings, parishrestoration.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Oklahoma Sooners.
Quarterback John Mateer is pushing to return for Saturday's game against Texas in the Red River rivalry. Of course, Mateer had hand surgery. He's trying to return less than 3 weeks after that surgery. Apparently, according to ESPN, he reacted well to the operation. We'll see if he's able to go. His broken bone in his right throwing hand makes it pretty difficult to play quarterback. You got a broken bone in your throwing hand. But Brett Venables said Mateer's going through the normal protocol, but he's done, as he said, done zero good on good work, meaning working with the one. So we'll keep you posted. But John Mateer pushing to play this weekend against Texas.
The Missouri Tigers.
Eli Drinkwitz gave an update on Caden Green's health status ahead of this weekend's game against Alabama. Green is Missouri's starting left tackle. He is given a questionable designation. He started each of the first 3 games, missed the last 2 with a right foot injury. Not disclosed exactly what the injury is, but he's working to get back for this week's game against the Tide.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Michael Smith, sophomore tight end, has left the South Carolina football team. The Big Spur was the first to report it. He will redshirt and enter his name in the transfer portal. Smith played in 4 games for the Gamecocks this season, caught 2 passes for 20 yards. A freshman a season ago, played in 12 games with 10 catches, but will take the red shirt this year and move on.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
And Arkansas has ended its relationship with their NIL management company, Blueprint Sports. It's an interesting decision. This was the company behind the school's collective, the Arkansas Edge, but they're exploring future opportunities not together. So they started unwinding their relationship months before. Now it'll officially end October the 15th. Blueprint Sports apparently came under fire when details of the company's deal with Oregon State emerged. Apparently, Blue Sports keeping 75% of the net revenue earned in NIL deals with Oregon State, up to $1.5 million. So a lot of people thought that was maybe too much, and so Arkansas has ended that relationship. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Our Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Sunequip.com, Bunkie and below. You want a Deere, you're going to Sunshine. Hey, remember also, when you go into Sunshine, they got portable generators, they got fans and other things that you may need for your outdoor power for your tailgate. So you're going to be tailgating this week for the Tigers and the Gamecocks. You want the generator, fans, all the stuff that you may need. You can get it at Sunshine. Of course, you want a Deere, Gator, tractor, zero-turn mower, they got you covered over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com. All right, y'all, glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll knock out a break, wrap up hour number 1 when we come back. Sean Salisbury's here in 17 minutes. A little bit of a switch on our schedule today. Sean, who's usually with us in hour 3 on Tuesdays, he'll be with us here coming up in 17 minutes because we'll have Kenny Lacy, the father of Kyren Lacy, and attorney Matt Ory in our studio to start hour number 3. So in about an hour and 17 minutes, we'll have those 2 gentlemen in studio with us, and we're looking forward to that conversation. So Sean Salisbury here in about 17 minutes. We'll wrap up hour number 1 when we come back. Kellen Moore meeting with reporters as the Saints are off here today on Tuesday, but turning the page, start getting ready for the New England Patriots.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. This week is when they're having the centennial celebration for Watermark Baton Rouge. Events Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, starting tonight, and then through Thursday. Events each night this week, celebrating the centennial of that building, Watermark Baton Rouge, the old Louisiana National Bank building, the original Louisiana National Bank building that they've modernized. They've maintained so much of the, as I've said, historical integrity of that building. A lot of the original marble, the original artwork, so much of the original parts of that building are there, but they've modernized it, made it into Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. So if you've got friends or family coming in town for LSU games or for any reason, make sure they stay downtown at Watermark Baton Rouge. Or maybe you live in town, you want a staycation or a night out, dinner at the Gregory, wine or cocktails at the lobby bar there at Watermark Baton Rouge while you people watch is absolutely an exquisite way to spend an evening. The best hotel in the best of 225, it's Watermark Baton Rouge.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Children's School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Just look at her face, she ain't a fooling me. She thinks my tractor's sexy, it really turns her on. She's always
All right, wrapping up hour number one. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. We get to Sean Salisbury in about 14 minutes from right now, and always thrilled to have you aboard with us. A busy day on Tuesday for the New Orleans Saints with a flurry of roster moves that they announced. If you want to read about this, you can. The story's up at louisianasports.net. As a matter of fact, here ahead of Week 6 practices, which Tuesday's the off day in the NFL, so Wednesday the Saints will be on the practice field getting ready for the Patriots. But here's the moves that they made. most notably, the Saints have signed veteran cornerback Michael Davis to the active roster. We'll get on that here in just a quick second. They've waived running back and kick returner Velus Jones. Now, it was a rough day for Jones on Sunday, and in particular, when you're Velus Jones, the way you're going to make the roster and make an impact is not running the football, because Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller are primarily going to handle those roles. Where you're going to make your impact is on special teams. And consistently on Sunday, New Orleans had poor starting field position. And one of those instances was where Velus Jones misjudged the kickoff and went into the end zone, took a knee, which brought the Saints only out to the 20-yard line. Whereas all of the kickoff rules now are effectively set up to make sure you start at the 25 or beyond. So a 1-to-1 there. They've signed wide receiver Ronnie Bell and rookie tight end Maliki Mataval to the practice squad. For Mataval, this is just sort of the what you're just going to see happen all year is they're making room on the roster when they need to cut a guy, waive a guy, but just say, hey, sit tight. We'll sign you right back whenever we can, because there's no real risk at this point of him being signed to somebody else's active roster. So when you need to make space for a signing, you can do it there. And then they've also terminated the practice squad contracts of defensive end Garrett Nelson, tackle Satao Laumea, and I don't know if I nailed that or not, and wide receiver Tommy Malott. So a few things here. I think adding Davis is clearly the most notable thing here. And by the way, this was Brandon Staley. OTAs, this was from May of 2021. Davis played collegiately at BYU and came into the NFL, played for Staley with the Chargers from 2021 to 2023. So, again, there's familiarity with your defensive coordinator and the player. So that that knowledge base of the player and the system and all helps for an easier transition. This was, again, Staley back in 2021 about Davis.
I'm really excited about Vato. Really feel like this guy's got a lot of tools to work with. I think he's just entering the beginning of his NFL career. In my mind, this guy's got a lot of confidence. I feel like he's really been able to thrive in our DB environment, and this guy can press. He can play off. He can judge the ball deep. He can really run, as you guys know. But another factor that we really have been impressed with is the way his brain works. This guy can think the game. He can see the game. And a lot of it, when you're playing corner in this league, is playing that chess match against whoever you're facing and knowing not all these people that you're going against are the same. And so we're hopefully, going to be partnering up with him for many years to come.
So you're talking about a guy here who has been around the league a good bit now. Was with the Chargers in 2017 through 23, spent last year with Washington. He's played in 122 games with 76 career starts. So this is an experienced cornerback. And obviously what this points to is Isaac Yiadom, who missed last week with the hamstring injury, and that may continue to limit his availability. So Yiadom was not available this past week. We got to see rookie Quincy Riley take a larger role in the defense. And now with Yiadom out and some time, here's a veteran player who's played more than 100 games, has familiarity with Brandon Staley, familiarity with him as well. And so it's a great opportunity to bring in a guy that should have an easier transition that's played an awful lot. And if you're wondering, we like to look when we can at the PFF grades. Isaac Yiadom hasn't exactly set the world on fire defensively to start the season. His overall PFF grade is just a 49. For context, Quincy Riley, who's played 94 snaps, his overall grade is a 65.9. So Riley, again, in a limited role, but still Yiadom's only played 140 snaps. So comparable. Quincy Riley has outperformed Isaac Yiadom. He's been really good in run defense as well. His run defense grade is an 80.7. So all that to say, we continue to hammer down this message about the young players on this team, the young talent, particular guys you drafted, continue to emerge in their role. And Riley might be one of those guys that we see. And another thing to remind you about with Yiadom, remember, Ross explained this last week, but Ross Jackson at LouisianaSports.net, that with Yiadom, if he plays more than 25% of the defensive snaps this year, you stand to forfeit the fourth-round compensatory pick you would gain from Paulson Adebo signing with the Giants. So the Saints are incentivized not to play Yadam more snaps. And so now you get a veteran who might be able to fill that role, make you a little better in the secondary as well. So makes sense. Like it a lot what they did there in adding Michael Davis. So as we continue to develop here and any more roster moves, we'll let you know. But the Saints will be back on the practice field on Wednesday, starting their preparations for Sunday's game in the Dome against the New England Patriots. All right, we're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com. That's South Point Volkswagen. Got a text earlier today, actually, from Mr. Kerry Manuel over at South Point Volkswagen. He's a certified pre-owned manager over at South Point VW. He said, just pulled 6 South Point loaner vehicles from loaner service. Low mileage, like new, have certified Volkswagen extended warranties. You're going to save money, including several different models. Atlas, Taos, Jetta, all 2025 models. So what a great opportunity to go get into a newer vehicle, low mileage, and save some money. You could do it over at South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Airline just north of Highland or online at SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Remember, you can always email, tweet, or text the show in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show and welcome you to do that however you want to. I did get a text from someone saying, like, what are you, an investigative journalist now? We opened the show talking about the latest Kyren Lacy video. No, but it is a story that has a tremendous amount of interest from our audience. And as it develops, we're going to talk about it. So if you don't like it, go somewhere else.
AFR.
As we put a button here on hour number 1, I want to remind you about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Hey, look, we're getting close to the holidays. And the holidays generally are a time where a lot of people like to pop the question. Romantic time of year, snow falling. Okay, not in Louisiana. But, maybe you make a trip to somewhere where the snow is falling. Anyway, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry has been helping Louisianians get engaged for more than 4 decades. They got 10 locations in all. And what that means for you is they have purchasing power, right? When Mr. Scott goes to some of the finest diamond mines in the world, India, wherever it may be, and he's buying for 10 stores. Because he's buying for 10 stores, he's going to get great prices and the best selection. So no matter what you're looking for, they have it. If they don't have it, they'll find it. If they can't find it, they'll make it. They want her to be thrilled and you to be a hero. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca, new QB in Cincinnati. The Bengals trading for Joe Flacco. Browns and Bengals swapping 2026 5th and 6th rounders for the former Super Bowl MVP. Joined Cincinnati after a third straight loss with backup quarterback Jake Browning, who threw 3 more interceptions. Another trade in the NFL. The Chargers are acquiring Ravens edge rusher Odafe Oweh for safety Alohi Gilman and a swap of 5th and 7th round picks. Oweh had 10 sacks last season. Ravens have really struggled in the secondary, have allowed 37 plus in all 5 games this season. Move from LA to Baltimore in Harbaugh trade. Meanwhile, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones fined $250,000 for an.
Hey, Sean, can you hear me? All right, awesome, man. Appreciate you being flexible today. Thank you.
Coverage continues on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, I'll tell you just how many non-Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in the NFC I trust right now over Baker Mayfield. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You should. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 1 hour from right now, Kenny Lacy, Kyren Lacy's dad, and attorney Matt Ory are going to be in studio with us. We're very much looking forward to that conversation, which means Sean Salisbury, who's normally with us in hour 3, was very kind enough to be flexible and move up a bit today, and we're always thrilled to have Sean with us talk a little ball. Sean, great to have you as always, man. How are you?
It's great to be with you, and it's that's an important conversation and a tragic one you're going to get to have in about an hour. So I'm honored to do it for that family, man.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate your flexibility and your time as always. Spencer Rattler finally got himself a win. What do you think that? Well, obviously you played in the NFL, but to get the first win, what's Spencer Rattler feeling right now?
You'll forget a lot of things in your career, Matt. Some you want to, and some you don't. But I got to tell you that you'll never forget that one. I remember my first win in the league as well. And it didn't come after 4 or 5 or 6 losses, unfortunately, how it started. Or what's it been, 11 or 12 for him, counting last year?
He started 0-10.
But it's okay. Yeah, 0-10. What was it, Matty? 0-11 or something?
0-10, yeah.
Yeah, 0-10. I'm happy for him. It's one of those you almost feel like, and I know it's not, but it's internally you feel like, man, we just won a Super Bowl, because it does a few things. One, it validates the hard work you put in. 2, you hope it's a Kickstarter for your team. And even if it's, people don't get carried away and say, oh, they won one, they'll go on a 10-game run. Who knows? But I think it's just, and it can draw you together, because it also got Kellen Moore his first win there too. And so there's a lot of firsts. It's a confidence thing, because even though you're playing well, the one stat that we always keep track of is wins and losses. And we somehow put that only on the quarterback. So if the team's losing, it's the quarterback's fault. If the team's winning, everybody gets credit, but the quarterback gets most of it. So that's part and parcel of the position. But it is, we've turned it into a quarterback stat. So you wear it, man. Every week, it's not man, we got beat. When you're at home sitting by yourself, whether you say we in front of everybody, you believe I got beat. It's on me. And that's usually the burden quarterbacks bear. And he's handled it well. And he's been through a lot. And I can tell you what helped him handle it, in my opinion. And I think he's a good young kid, and he humbled along the way. We all need that. He, to go through that and go the ups and downs along the way. Nothing's good about losing other than the growth you're going to make to get to winning. But when you go through some pitfalls in your career along the way, even though he won a lot in college and high school, it's still different when you're with the big boys. And it's a great motivator to continue to go, even though you didn't need motivation. But it's just like anything else. Once that's done, now you can put that away and hopefully focus on the positive, because every week you're focused on what you didn't do as opposed to what you did do or what you can do. And now they know some of the things they can do, big plays and the way they played in the game. And it's a great reward, and it's a great celebration with your teammates and your friends and family, but it's also, and the city. But I think he was well equipped for this, because he's been kicked in the teeth a few times, and that's part of the growth that goes with being a starting quarterback in the league. It isn't easy, as we well know.
Hey, remind me, did you for those who don't know, Sean tutors a lot of young quarterbacks. Did you ever cross paths with Spencer when he was young?
I was coached him at a camp at the Texas A&M Elite when they invited their elite recruits.
Okay.
I got invited by A&M to go up there and be part of that. And I was able to see him. It was his junior year going into his senior year.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. Yeah, I saw him and I watched him. I was just up close and watched how he handled himself. And at that point in time, and I know his guy who trains him in Scottsdale, since he was in high school and beyond, who's a really good coach out there. But I got to work with him, and it was a pleasure. The kid, I knew then he had special skill set, but you never know how it's going to turn out. And he was awfully confident, and he knew he was a good player. And I mean that respectfully and affectionately, but sometimes, when it gets to the point where you're that dominant, and he was, that along the way, sometimes you run into those pitfalls, and he probably never saw them for the most part early in his career, so he wasn't used to it. And then when he had to face it, he had to, recarve out and rebrand him as a quarterback, and he did. But I was impressed with how physically gifted and strong he was when I got to watch him work.
So you've seen him for every phase, or high school, college, pro. What's interesting to me right now, Sean, is through 5 games, just 6 touchdowns, but only 1 interception. Like, largely he's avoided the big mistakes. So I'm curious what evolution you've seen from Rattler, given what the perception was of him in college and how his career in the NFL has begun.
I love the evolution, because, from watching him and people that watched him every day in high school, and me getting to coach him at that camp, but also talking to, his private coach, and just listen to the way people talked about him in Arizona, which is like a second home for me, and paying attention to those high school recruits. He was a very dynamic, explosive player with a great skill set, and, a guy who had guts and a chance taker. You put the ball in his hand, great things were going to happen. And when you're that good, you assume you can make every throw. And it's hard, Matt, to back off and know when to be judicious with the football. It just is, because then the expectations. I mean, we see it all the time. It's rare you get a guy of his talent that come out and say, "Yeah, man, he's a patient guy." And most of the time, we're looking at explosive talent. We want big plays, and you got to go dominate. And so to settle in, to go from being an athlete who's a quarterback, don't misunderstand me, But then as you get on and everybody's good and everybody around you, to being a quarterback that's not just a thrower, but that's a passer and understands the concept. Because he was good enough, Matt, in high school to not make a great play and still be better than the guys around him, if that makes sense. To miss a read and still make a throw. To miss where somebody misses a block and to find and buy himself some time and to make something happen when you're that physically gifted. So it becomes more of a physical thing as you're going on, and you don't realize until you get to it and it hits you in the face in college that, oh my gosh, there's a lot of other things to it. And that's not, it's just when you're that good, the mental part of it doesn't hit you until, well, it has to hit you. And he was a smart guy. I'm just talking about you didn't have to rely on that with that cerebral stuff. None of it. I didn't. I mean, I knew it. He knows coverage, but I was just physically better than players. And I don't mean it arrogant, just was. So that's what your crutch is. And he was physically just better than everybody. So the secondary part of it is the mental patience, getting through your progressions, because he could throw it through a car wash without getting it wet in high school. And he was just better. But what happens is you go through it, then you say, okay, now coverage, and then fast-paced offense, and then you come in and have a few bad games and the expectations raised. Well, all the expectations for him have been he's lived up to them. Then he gets to school and it's like, well, wait a second now. From first pick possible to the draft, highest recruited kid in the country, to going through struggles, bringing another guy. Oh, now what? Then that guy has success, and you don't get the gig back, and you got to transfer. So all those things that are well documented. But I think the evolution is that he learned along the line. You don't have to be a hero. You don't have to make every play. In high school, he was good enough to do it, so he did it. And when he got to college, he was. Hence why going into his last year, he was supposed to be the first pick of the draft or top 3 pick. So it happens. But the evolution from being an athlete thrower to a quarterback passer and a guy who processes it all and understands what the defense is trying to do to you, then, and I think that's carried over to here. He got here and realized, you know what? In order for us and me to have some success, I've got to be smart with the football. Now, as he gets there, you saw him take chance, the big 87-yard play. What a great route call and a great throw and finish. Is that as he starts to evolve now, as he's backed off saying, let me get these completions. Let me understand how to beat people with my mind and other parts of getting the ball out on time. That physically, the corner in high school doesn't quite cover like the guy does now. And it's just a different way to do it. And sometimes you don't learn it, sometimes you do, and sometimes it takes a minute. When I watched him last week and watched him this year, and from last year, some of the struggles, it feels to me like there's command, there's more processing, and he's got the physical ability to make it happen. But once you start to tie them both together, good things happen. I know it's one win, but I think he's played good enough football this year to warrant the fact that he's the starting quarterback. That one bad game shouldn't sit him down. I believe that. And so then a coach's number one thing is make sure the guys around, that confidence and believability, but protect the football. And he's doing a hell of a job of it, because I know the other stuff's there. When big plays are there, he'll make them as he evolves. But you got to know, can you protect it? Can you overcome what you couldn't overcome when you went through your struggles? And now here you are again. And to me, the greatest growth is learning from your earlier mistakes. And I think he's done that. And I think he is progressing to prove that he can be a guy in this league. Because I want to remind people again, when that kid came out of high school and for the majority of his college career, he was as good as there was wherever he was. And then he went through a little humble pie, and that's not a bad thing, especially if you know what you're going through and understand what it takes to get out of it.
Yeah, it brings up a really interesting matchup this week, and then I'm going to talk about when we come back, because the Saints are going to host New England. You got another young quarterback, Drake May. Looks pretty good right now. Certainly the Patriots going on the road on Sunday Night Football, getting a win in Buffalo. We'll talk about that when we come back. I also want to talk about maybe the next generation of potential future great quarterback there in Lenora Sellers. We'll get Sean's thoughts on that as Sellers and the Gamecocks come into Baton Rouge this weekend. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Their number one product is always customer satisfaction. Brandon Holly demands that of everyone within the organization, and you'll understand it. They measure twice, they install once. Every window is custom made to the specifications of your home. Reduce your energy bills. Increase your home's resale value. Lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. Talked about Relief Windows for more than a decade because they're the best. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. We continue with Sean Salisbury next on AFR.
AFR.
GLO, GlowResources.com, GlowResources.com. They are complete employer solutions over at Glow Resources. And you know what Glow They measure their success by how long an employee stays in your company. And this isn't a temp staffing agency. They're trying to find permanent solutions for the jobs you need to fill within your organization to make you more efficient. So if you're the person in charge of hiring, you need to get to know Glow, G-L-O, glowresources.com. And at Glow, they have a 96% success rate. 9.6 out of 10 people that they hire for your business stay. It's an amazing success rate. As a matter of fact, if it does, they're so confident in their ability. If they don't find that person, they'll find someone else for you for free or give you a prorated refund. It's Glow Resources. They'll service businesses anywhere in the country or the world. GLO, glowresources.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Glad you're rolling along with us here on this Tuesday edition of AFR Powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Always appreciate Sean Salisbury for joining us. You'll get him on Twitter, X at Sean Unfiltered. Make sure you go subscribe to Unpaved there on YouTube. The link's on Sean's Twitter bio if you want to check it out there. Sean, we went to break and we were talking about Spencer Rattler. This weekend's going to be interesting because of the couple of young quarterbacks and Drake May coming in. How would you sort of assess Drake May and the Patriots through the first handful of games here under Mike Vrabel coming into the Dome after one of the most impressive and maybe surprising wins of the early NFL season, Sunday Night Football in Buffalo?
Yeah, it goes to show you that coaching does matter and buy-in and guys that can make a difference. And, you know, while I hope Tennessee gets their stuff settled, one team's and organization's loss is another team's gain. It's the perfect job for Mike, and it matters with Drake May. And listen, when you're a head coach and you get a job in college, nowadays you're looking for NIL money, a recruiting base, support from the AD and the president, and a great fan base, right? Well, in the pros, you're looking for an organization that maybe you're familiar with, that you trust the people who hired you, and then you want to have a good quarterback. It's a good place to start, and Mike's got that. Love him. I've always loved him. As far as Drake May, I was a huge fan coming out of school. I know we didn't get to see 5 years of a body of work,
right?
But he can make every throw. He's more athletic than people think. He can kill you from the pocket, which is I love. I love quarterbacks that can do it both, Matty. But for me, it starts there. We rarely have consistent Super Bowl type contenders or winners that they beat you with their feet first, arm second. It's the other way around, and he's really good from there. And I think he's got a great feel for the game. And every time I watch him, he feels pretty unflappable to me. He still looks like a child and a kid, but he plays like a grown-up. And talk about a guy who's fought through it, emerged, and is really uplifted an organization. Going forward, this is a good matchup, man, with Mike Vrabel, the organization, the Patriots. They really, no matter how we go about it, and I know it hadn't been a long time since Tom's been gone, but I haven't been as optimistic about that organization and about that team since Mike and now with Drake May got there. He's been well taught along the way, and you can see what coaching's doing for him. And now he's starting to get to the point where the leadership and believability. I thought it was a huge win. I think we're making a major mistake. The Jets are awful. The Miami Dolphins are as soft as a wet paper towel. They're not any good. The New England Patriots, one thing and when you got a quarterback and you play tough, and he's still not doing it with the Detroit Lions personnel, Drake May, right? Mike's going to continue to build that. There's a sense of toughness that I'm a big believer, because everywhere I've been, we have taken on the personality of our head coach. I don't care if it's high school, college, or pro. That personality, whatever that was, we took it on, and a coaching staff. And I think Drake May will benefit from that. And I think Mike realized how good he is. Give him some more personnel, and there's an elevation. When you look at that class, it has some pretty good players. I don't see why 5 years from now we're not talking about him in the same breath we're talking about the best in the league. He's got that ability, but it also they have to continue to build around him. I love his poise, and that victory against Buffalo. I would not sleep on the New England Patriots as the season goes along. Toughness travels, and Mike Vrabel's a hell of a coach, and they got a quarterback. I wouldn't sleep on them being a team that in December is still in a battle for a wild card spot.
Yeah, you go to Buffalo and win, the league is on. It's been put on notice. Sean, the Saints played by their standard pretty well, still gave up 31 and lost by a dozen at Buffalo. So, you go win there.
They're pretty good, and their quarterback dresses in a phone booth, man. Yeah. So I understand. You got to go there, and it takes, even when you're playing good, it's tough to win, and that's a great point.
Hard to win in Baton Rouge as well, and South Carolina's found wins hard to come by this season. Lenore Sellers came in, was the preseason SEC first-team, all-team quarterback, and, man, it's not been a good start. What's going on with South Carolina offensively?
Yeah. I know that he's, there's been banged up a little bit, but not excuse. And Shane Beamer's not going to make him. Maddie, not just you guys. I was looking at that schedule this morning. It is brutal for them, too. Yeah. You start to go through the gamut that they got to deal with. Even though you guys haven't played your best, we know the potential and how difficult it is in Baton Rouge. I don't know. It looks rigid to me, and I've watched him, and at times it's unwatchable. And he had high expectations. You know how I felt about him in the preseason. I think remember I was talking about polish and the guy who can beat you if one of them's taken away, that he can beat you. Let's say his feet, his big body, and that incredible playmaking skills that Lenore Sellers has, that he can take over a game, and we've seen it in the past. But it almost feels, and I don't want to say the hype got to him, because I do like Coach Beamer, I do. But for whatever reason, but we've seen it. We see it with Penn State. We've seen it with Clemson. We've seen it with we see it with the University of Texas, that the hype, matter of fact, think about it. Klubnik, Arch, Lenore Sellers, even in us, the 4 or 5 top quarterbacks in this country going into this season, Heisman, top draft picks, none of them yet have. We've seen flashes, but none of them have played in big games the way that they're supposed to play, and that we expect a first top 5 guy or Heisman Trophy guy to play like. Lenore Sellers, the danger part of this, Matt, is that he's got so many different ways to beat you that at some point they're going to have that game. Now, a tough place to go play it, and coming off of some rest, and they'll be ready to go and hopefully healthy, meaning LSU. But I would caution people, even though it hasn't looked pretty, he still is one of those guys. He's raw, Matty. He is. And he's going to take a lot of coaching to be the guy I've talked about that doesn't have to beat you with the wear you out physically, that he can beat you in other ways. But we've seen, and I watched him last year, literally a game or two take over a game and flat out will his team to victory. It sounds easier said than done, and it is easier said than done, but he's due for a monster performance, and he can kill you with both his legs, his physicality, and also the arm. So I would caution us to think this will be an easy one if you're LSU because of the way they've played. At some point in time, they're going to play better. I know LSU hopes they can put a stop to it, but the guy's got the skill set, as going by the preseason vote, the skill set to be a really good player. He's just not a polished one yet. I think he needs more coaching in the passing game.
It's interesting because there's been a lot of those comments about the LSU offense as well, which came in with great expectations. It hasn't lived up. I'm curious, Sean, in an open date, aside from getting healthy, you go through self-scout. LSU's 121st in the country in rushing offense. How much better realistically can you get during your open date?
Well, and Matt, I don't know off the top of my head. I know you do because you got all that. How many attempts or their commitment to it? I know I watch them, but the literal commitment to it. The runs versus pass and ratio and the stuff, the balance we're looking for. I do know going into it, it'd be easy if I was a coach and a team to rely on the guy that was under center heading into this season because you expect him to make all the throws, and he's at that stage that we do expect it and expect more. But it doesn't matter who the guy is or how good he is. If that is that bad and there's the commitment, while you want to commit to it, but you still don't, you put the ball in his hand, it puts an extra burden on him. And then if he is banged up or sore or, if he is hurting or you're not playing as well, and all of a sudden you're not blocking up front and you're getting your quarterback hit and he's taking hits and then he wants to force balls in because you at times playing from behind and you got to make plays, it compounds problems. I don't care what anybody says. As valuable as it gets, find me, look around. Jalen Hurts, look around the NFL or college, teams that consistently win. The D-value of the running back's hogwash. I know we've done it in the NFL, but last year was different. Take a look. The teams that do it run the ball. The teams that struggle. I don't care if it's Mahomes or Elway or anybody. If you can't run it, Elway needed Terrell Davis to get his 2 Super Bowls. And Terrell needed him too. Don't misunderstand me. But I just think when you're that good trying to fix it during the season, 2 things I've always said when it comes to in season. It's hard to work on mechanics as a player, especially at the quarterback position. It just is because you're putting game plans in and the next game's on you. Now, the bye week gives you a little more time, but it's like anything else. I don't want to have a golf lesson when I'm in the middle of trying to fix it while I'm on the course.
Right.
We'll talk about it and then go to the practice range. But there's not enough time once the season starts. And the other thing is, I believe physical run games or physicality, which includes the run game, I think I don't want to say impossible, but I think it's really, really difficult 5-6 games in to change who you are and also to fix physicality in the run game. Because when you're that low, it's a physical problem. It's not just a running back. It's a physical holes not opening, which also leads to are they making mental mistakes where there's guys playing in the backfield? And there is. To be honest with you, if at the end of the season you and I are doing this show and they say, man, they turned around and ended up 12th in the country, I will be shocked. And they're also now in I don't want to say desperate, but they're in a position where they got to win a lot of games. And you're going to rely on your best stuff. And you're not going to try to fix it in a game, but you do have to commit to it and see if you can carve out motions and manipulate it with, and down and distance and formations to give yourself a fair box. But they are, I can't believe I'm saying this about an LSU team when they're getting manhandled at the line of scrimmage in the run game.
Yeah,
that's not a good thing. I don't believe you can fix physicality because I got news for you. Bruce Matthews and Anthony Munoz ain't coming out of the stands to play for you right now. And I don't think Barry Sanders has got any eligibility left. So while good players, I'm not saying they're not, but the run game is a bring your own blocker at times. And it's a commitment to you just got to be more physical than the other team. You can have all the shifty stuff you want. And I don't think you can make wholesale changes. And quite frankly, I don't think you can make quantum leaps in the run game as far as that far down to get where they're going to need to be to win the SEC and be in a playoff. That's a long way. They can still get the playoff, but you're going to have to carve it and manipulate it and fool the system a little bit because that's a long way to travel during the season.
So the numbers you asked for, so a year ago, and this is a conversation we've had a bunch, so your intuition is right. A year ago, LSU was 60-40 pass run. They didn't really even give a great attempt at balance. This year through 5 games, They've thrown it 184 times, ran it 147. So they're 55-45. They're closer to balance. But against Ole Miss, it was sick. They threw it 34 times and ran it 22 times. Sean, in that game, there were only 2 instances the entire game where they ran the ball in consecutive plays.
Yeah, and that can't happen because it also gets to a point where those big fellas like the rhythm, right? And the balance is better. But what happened? And then if you're doing that and you're not getting, you're running it, and then you're throwing it, you're running. First of all, defensive teams pick up on that. Tendencies are nothing more than evidence, and that you'll study the next week. So, and then it's hard to commit to it. Then if you're a fan, or Matty, if you and I are in the media and we're saying, man, 55-45, but look where they're ranked. So what gives? You're still trying to run it, but you're not doing anything. And then as obvious, when you're not getting success in the run game, what happens? They change up how they're coming after you. Plus, they play it in long yardage situations, Matt. You can handle that a game or two, a series or two. But if that's where you're at, it's first and 10, it's 2nd and 8, it's 3rd and 7 every now and then you get into a passing fancy. Even though it's been pretty balanced, you're still going to rely on what you think you do best. And we know that's been Nussmeier, who you're counting on as their best, their thrower and the guy who's a veteran to do it. But with that balance, it's got to be better, which tells you there's either lapses in the mental part of not knowing who to block, or they're just not physical enough to move the pile. Good distribution. I'm good 60-40, 55-45. Mm-hmm. But what I'm not good is not running it 2 times in a row. Yeah. Because that tells everybody that you're abandoning it too quickly. And in a game like that, and you're giving up possessions to a pretty explosive team. And in truth, Matty, we watched it. Ole Miss was more physical than LSU, and we don't say that very often in the past, but they were, and it's going to have to change. I don't know how you change it, but maybe you're going to have to design different formations to get guys space, because right now there's not a lot of it.
Coming off an open day, it'll be very telling to see how the Tigers healthier sure and 2 weeks to prepare and sort of reassess how they look. And, of course, we'll talk about it every week here with Sean Salisbury. Y'all get him on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Make sure you go subscribe on YouTube there. To Unpaved on YouTube. The link's there in his Twitter bio as always. Sean, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for being flexible again today, man. We appreciate you as always.
My pleasure, and good luck with that interview, man. Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. That's Sean Salisbury, what he's referring to. We're going to have Kenny Lacy, Kyren's dad, and attorney Matt Ory in studio with us in 30 minutes from right now. An important conversation that I'm looking forward to having. We'll do that coming up shortly. We are brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Fall savings are back. You can get up to $100 back right now via Visa Reward Card or your Visa Virtual Prepaid Card after online submission with the purchase of 4 new select Uniroyal passenger or light truck tires. That's between August the 28th all the way up to October the 7th today. Today's your last day. Go take advantage of it. You want to look at all the current promotions, you could do so at ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Hit the promotions tab at the top of the page. You'll see all the deals that they have on tires because they're going to sell you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. That's at Shawbills, and they're going to keep you coming back year after year after year because they treat you like family. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. All right, we're halfway home here on this Tuesday, presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Thanks to Shea Dixon, who was here last hour. Sean Salisbury just there talking some black and gold, purple and gold. And as we mentioned, Kenny Lacy and Matt Ory will be in our studio here in 29 minutes from right now. We're looking forward to that conversation. Let me knock out a quick break. We will continue. Both Kellen Moore and Brian Kelly getting their team set for this week. We'll continue here on AFR.
After further review.
If you are thinking about selling your home, first, you got to know how much your home is worth. So the best place to go is agent225.com, agent225.com, agent225.com. That's Darren James's website. And I tell you that because on the website, there's a home value tab. If you're on mobile, just scroll down. You see where it says home value. Just type in your address. Boom. Your property value will pop up. And you might say, oh, well, I could look at Zillow. The problem with your Zestimate there is, like, when was the last time Zillow was in your home? See, with Darren, he uses local market data that a national website like that may not have. Local market data that will give you a better sense of what home values in your neighborhood are appraised for and going for. So how much is your home really worth? You want to find out? You can do so in a matter of seconds right now at agent225.com, agent225.com. You need to sell your home. You need the best. You need Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings at 6 on Talk 107.3.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Lenore Sellers, who's an outstanding athlete, incredible arm, has the ability to change a game. We saw what he did against us last year. Certainly somebody that we have to make sure does not wreck the game for us.
Two quarterbacks here that entered this season among the preseason Heisman favorites, and both have fallen out of that conversation here after 1 week in October. Welcome back. Glad to have you aboard with us here on this Tuesday edition of AFR Powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. The flip side of it is Shane Beamer was asked about Garrett Nussmeier and if he's seen any differences in Nussmeier from a year ago. Remember, a year ago in Columbia, South Carolina, Garrett Nussmeier threw for over 300 yards in that game there in Columbia, in a game where the Tigers had to rally. It was a big offensive day. Neither team really could get a stop late, and ultimately the Tigers did prevail. But this is Beamer talking about Nuss from last year to this year.
No. He's made some throws this year, Jordan, that are wow throws that, you're like, man, there's very few people in the country that can make that throw. The one thing I've seen, they've had some injuries on the offensive line. They lost some really good offensive linemen. 66, Campbell starting for the Patriots now, and that was a really good group that they had last year. And then they've basically had to replace that group with some portal guys and new players, freshmen, and then they've had some injuries. And it's tough, man. So there's continuity on the offensive line where they've given up some pressures, which is going to happen in this conference, and he hasn't been able to sit in the pocket maybe as much at times as he would like. And from what I read, he hasn't been 100% healthy. I know they said they rested him some last week with an injury that he's had, but I see him gutting it out and making plays and being the great quarterback that he is.
It's interesting there that Beamer defaulted to talking about the offensive line and a lot of the pressures, and looking at him on film. By the way, I said Nuss threw for 3. He threw for 285 last year, just to be completely accurate on it. 285 at South Carolina a year ago. But it's interesting when you hear coaches talk about it, right? Where the I know a lot of the fan conversation. Again, I'm not here to convince you one way or another. I know people believe at this point about Nuss, his injury, whatever, what you're going to believe, and there's nothing I'm going to say that's going to change that. So we'll go into Saturday, see how it all plays out against South Carolina, see if Nuss looks more like Nuss. But my contention has been pretty adamantly that the root of your issue is the offensive line, which, like, if you're actually willing to pull back, take the 10,000-foot view, haven't we talked about this in spring? That was your biggest concern? 5 new starters on the offensive line, a couple of portal guys, 2 new starting tackles, and it hadn't gone well. That's objectively true. It hasn't gone well for LSU in this offensive line that's piecing it together right now. And they got to find it. They got to improve, and they got to find answers. And maybe part of that answer is playing a guy like Kyren Lacy, like we talked about a day ago. But it's interesting as we've had the conversations where Shane Beamer sort of defaulted to as well when he was talking about it. Said Nussmeier's made some of the throws that only a handful of guys in the country can make. Well, if he's injured, is he making those throws? I don't know. You make your own decisions. Again, I'm not trying to convince you one way or another of what is or isn't happening. But ultimately, this is going to be a real telltale for this LSU offense against a South Carolina defense that isn't quite what it was a year ago. Nuss has had the week off now to get healthy. You've had the opportunity to self-scout, see how they can go. But when you go look at these blocking grades from PFF, just the overall blocking grades, this is the challenge here. When you look at the blocking grades, your highest graded player is Braylon Moore at a 68. Kyren Lacy's next at a 67. You got a big drop-off. You got Josh Thompson at a 62. Tyree Adams at a 61. Like, if I go to just run blocking, right? Let's just look at run blocking grades. I'm not talking about Ory Williams, who's played 26 snaps. But if you look at your regulars, so Braylon Moore is at a 66. After that, the next highest rated offensive lineman is Kyren Lacy at a 59. DJ Chester at a 58. Josh Thompson at a 56. Tyree Adams at a 55. You get the point? Do pass blocking grades. Thompson's at an 83. Mabenga's at an 82. Kern's at a 77. You've had some good numbers there. Moore's at a 72. Like, some of your pass blocking grades have been okay, but your run blocking grades have been objectively very bad. And if you can't run the ball to create balance and you're giving up pressures against a 3-man front, we've said it enough. You know the issues, and Shane Beamer tends to agree. A big opportunity for the LSU offense this week. Brian Kelly did also talk a little bit about that offensive self-scout. I want to get into that here in just a quick second. We are brought to you by Supper Club. They're back open today. Of course, closed Sunday, Monday, open Tuesday to Saturday. They're open tonight, so you knock off of work, why head home? Don't go home. Go have dinner at Supper Club. Maybe go meet a client, call up your significant other, say, hey, meet me at Supper Club tonight for dinner. And if you don't have a reservation, that's all right. Open seating at the bar. So 14 bar stools, 7 bar tables. You can always have dinner there at the bar if you can't get a table. Maybe you look up and get a table. Or you want a reservation for this weekend. Maybe have dinner Friday night with people coming in town before LSU plays South Carolina. Or Saturday around game time. Listen, it's not a sports bar, but they do have a 100-inch projection screen in the lounge area next to the bar. So if you're in the bar area, you can see the TV. And instead of maybe going having some greasy food, how about you go have a delicious steak while you watch the game? Do that at Supper Club this Saturday. SupperClubBTR.com for your reservations. SupperClubBTR.com. Love telling you about Supper Club. Brian Kelly on Monday, when he was meeting with reporters, was asked about the self-scout, right? So you have the week off, and you don't start preparing last week for South Carolina. You begin your preparation for Carolina this week. So last week was more self-scouting, working on what you need to improve. And here's Brian Kelly talking about what LSU was working on last week.
We've been so much better in the second half than the first half. From an offensive perspective, play a little bit more to our strengths. And really, like I had mentioned, much more of an efficient 4 quarters of offense is what's needed. There's no major changes. There's no, hey, we're going to go to a split back veer or do something crazy here. We have to be more efficient in our passing game. We've got to hit shots down the field. And then we have to be much more efficient with the run game. So we've been working hard on it. Our guys have. I'm proud of the way they really locked in last week in a bye week. And my expectations is this offense is going to continue to get better week after week.
And the other thing that we've talked about a good bit is we talked about it with Sean Salisbury just a smidge ago there, is the commitment to the running game. And the interesting thing is, I think this year we have seen more of that than we did a year ago. Remember, a year ago they were 60-40 pass to run. They passed it at a 60% clip, ran it at a 40% clip. That was Cole Kublik this summer, was his whole sort of thesis was you can't say they were bad run blockers. You didn't give them the opportunity. You didn't consistently commit to it. Well, you go into this year, like the Clemson game, for example. LSU threw it 39 times. They ran it 31 times. There was at least more of a commitment. They ran it 31 times for 108 yards. It's only 3.5 yards a clip, but there was a commitment to doing it and possessing the football and protecting your defense. And that's what evaded them, I believe, in the game against Ole Miss. It was just the general lack of commitment to even trying to run the football. You can even look at the Florida game where you saw a little bit more balance offensively in their efforts. LSU threw it 27 times. They ran it 25 times. Again, it wasn't a potent offensive day for LSU, but they played complementary football. You protected a defense who was playing really well. And then you go against Ole Miss, and that number flips, 34-22, and you got completely out of whack. It's not hard to figure out. Those things need to be in line. And I would love to see LSU make that commitment to running the football, even if it's not super effective. You got to be able to attempt to do it, to make that defense respect it, to be able to open up the passing game. Tigers had a big day through the air last year against South Carolina in Columbia. See if they can match it on Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break of hour number 2. We used to do Tigers and the Pros when we come back. And then in about 15 minutes from right now to start hour 3, Kyren Lacy and attorney Matt Ory will be in studio with us. Very much looking forward to that conversation. Stay with us. It's AFR.
After further review.
I love telling you about Clegg's Nursery. I love telling you about great local businesses that have just been incredible community partners for so long. And at Clegg's, they are stocked on pumpkins and gourds and corn stalks and hay bales and all the fall decor. All their fall decor setups are there. Their displays are everywhere. Everything you need to create that fantastic fall display, they have at Clegg. So I always encourage you, bypass the big box store. Bypass the big orange and blue box stores and shop local. They're also stocked up on Mobucks and rice bran and deer corn. So if you're out there, getting set for deer season or in deer season now, Clegg's Nursery has got you covered. They got fall flowers that have arrived, mums and petunias and marigolds and snapdragons. They've even got pansies that are perfect for the fall color and the winter color. They got them right now at any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. They're just the best. Go see the wonderful people at any of the convenient Clegg's Nursery locations. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Children's School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings at 6 on Talk 107.3.
Looking for cleaner energy? Know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead...
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, and glad to have you aboard with us here. In about 12 minutes from right now, Kyren Lacy, attorney Matt Ory, will be in studio with us as we've been promoting and teasing all day that we'll have that conversation. Very much looking forward to that conversation on a day where Louisiana State Police released some new video footage of what we see of Kyren, what we know was speeding and illegally passing in a no-pass zone. Still, in my opinion, very much, not really an opinion, it very much calls into question the testimony of several eyewitnesses that said the person driving the gold truck had to aggressively brake, which video, black box, and firsthand testimony confirmed did not happen. So nobody's disputing that Kyren was speeding and illegally passing, but that does not mean he was responsible for the fatal crash. But anyway, it's been, I'm sure, an emotional 6 months and an emotional 4 days for the Lacy family. We'll talk to Kyren Lacy here shortly. Right now, Musso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
So Odell Beckham Jr. was on the Pivot in an episode that published earlier on Tuesday, and he told Ryan Clark and the guys that he has accepted a 6-game suspension for violating the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing drugs. The failed test happened last season when Beckham was a member of the Miami Dolphins. He said on the podcast he insisted he did not knowingly take the banned substances, and when he asked the league what PED he tested for, he was told, quote, your testosterone levels are too high. So a suspension will appear on the NFL transaction wire Tuesday, and it will start the clock for the 6 weeks until Beckham's eligible to play. He also did tell Ryan Clark and the guys on the Pivot that he is still hoping to return to the NFL this season. Said he'd be open to join the Steelers, Chiefs, Rams, or the Giants. We'll keep you up to date, but obviously it's going to be a little bit of time before OBJ can get back at least 6 games.
Well, one more game, right? If it's been 5 already.
So I guess the report did not specify when the clock would start. It appeared on the transaction wire today, so I'm assuming the 6 game starts this week.
That'll make a lick of sense. It would be 6 games. This would be the final week.
Maybe he had to accept it first and not fight it, not appeal. I don't know. Monday Night Football. Brian Thomas Jr., his best game so far this season. Jaguars have really been struggling getting him the football, which is puzzling, but 4 receptions, 80 yards a night ago. The 80 yards is the highest receiving total for BTJ so far in 2025. Had a long of 33. Still no touchdowns on the year, though, through 5 weeks. The Jaguars did get a very big win. Man, I was bummed for Mason Smith, too. Patrick Mahomes slipped right out of his hands last night. He had him just about wrapped up in the backfield, and Mahomes, working his magic, was able to actually escape the grasp of a former Tiger, Mason Smith, in that game. That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Of course, for more than 100 years now, our friends at First South Farm Credit have done one thing, and they've done it better than anyone else. They help Louisianians buy land. Maybe you want to work in the city but live that rural lifestyle. We see this so much. Maybe people who work in New Orleans, but they've moved to the North Shore. Well, First South Farm Credit has a branch in Tangipahoa. So if you want to buy that land, live on the North Shore, commute across the causeway, work in the city, you get the best of both worlds. Maybe if you're in the greater Baton Rouge area, of course, you want to maybe live in St. Francisville, Clinton, some of those surrounding areas, go buy 20 acres, 100 acres, build your family's dream home. You can have that rural lifestyle while working in the city as well. It's First South Farm Credit. Maybe, as we approach the end of the year, hard to believe we're approaching the end of the year. You're thinking of maybe a tax write-off. Recreational timber property could be a good investment property. Ask your CPA and see if that's something that might make sense. It's First South Farm Credit. firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. firstsouthland.com. All right, y'all, it is after further review, and we're glad to have you hanging out with us. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. I did get a text from Bryant who said, any update on Solomon Thomas? Was hoping he'd be back after the bye week and maybe contribute. It's very hard to imagine Solomon Thomas. And remember, Solomon Thomas was the five-star offensive lineman who flipped from Florida State to LSU on signing day. And we learned at the start of fall camp that he had a fractured bone in his foot that was going to cost him, really a month. And so the next availability we have with Brian Kelly, he'll be on the SEC Coaches Teleconference on Wednesday morning, and then he'll meet with reporters on Thursday. We could certainly ask for an update on Solomon Thomas then. But it's very hard to imagine for someone who's a freshman that missed all of fall camp and then effectively has to have the ramp-up acclimation period to get back into football shape, would be able to help you this late in the season when you're deep into conference races. I just don't know what's realistic. It feels like your rotation, your seven-man rotation with your starters, and then you talk about Kern, Eccles. I guess you can throw 8 if you go to DJ Chester as well. The 8 guys that you have, you feel like you can count on are pretty much set at this point. So, but we can ask for an update. All right, hour number 3 coming up after SportsCenter.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU athletics. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar. And yes, I love to tell you about the partnership that Our Lady of the Lake and LSU have, because they're interwoven into the fabric of one another. We told you how excited we are about the future basketball arena, which the Lake has already agreed to purchase the naming rights of that arena whenever it's approved by the board. You can't wait for that. Not only the arena itself, but that entire entertainment and medical district that'll be around the new arena, which is going to be so great, not only for this community, but for really all of the southern part of our state and all of the state. But I love telling you about my own personal experiences as well, from Drew being a patient at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital, my own personal care. Dr. Curtis Chastain is part of the Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group, and any other type of care you may need. You don't have to go far, because the Lake provides world-class care right here at home. It's Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builder School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. The NHL season opening up tonight. Puck drop and the Panthers raising another banner. Florida beginning their quest for a three-peat, taking on the Blackhawks tonight, up 2-1 at the end of one. Blackhawks open the scoring. Panthers scoring 2 straight to take the lead. Frank Nazar with the first goal of the NHL season. A.J. Greer nodding the score. Carter Verhaeghe giving the Panthers the lead on the power play. Florida outshooting Chicago 17-3 in the opening period. Also hit a post with 30 seconds to go in the frame the game on ESPN TV. Another trade in the NFL, the Chargers and Ravens making a deal. LA acquiring Ravens edge rusher Odafe Oweh for safety Alohi Gilman in a swap of 5th and 7th round picks. Ravens secondary dealing with injuries has really struggled. Oweh, former first-round pick, had 10 sacks last season, was entering the final year of his current contract. Elsewhere, the Bengals trading for Joe Flacco. Browns and Bengals swapping 2026 5th and 6th rounders for the former Super Bowl MVP.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, I'll tell you just how many non-Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in the NFC I trust right now over Baker Mayfield. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane's studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Talked about this for certainly all day today, and I mentioned a day ago that after Friday, when Kyren Lacy's attorney, Matt Ory, was on HTV 10, that wide-ranging 44-minute interview where the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's investigation and the evidence was revealed and discussed. We talked a good bit on Friday about that and all the reaction. Candidly, just doing my job here, felt it an obligation to reach out to both Matt Ory and Kenny Lacy for reaction. I also candidly didn't think that that we'd be able to make this happen, but I'm very pleased to have both Kenny Lacy and Matt Ory in studio with us here as we start Hour 3. Gentlemen, thank you first of all so much for taking the time today to be here. I sincerely appreciate it.
Appreciate you for having me.
Of course. Kenny, can I just start by asking, I'm certain for your family the last 6 months have been an emotional roller coaster. What about the last 4 days?
Last 4 days is almost like getting that phone call saying that Kyren's gone again. It's a whole, ball of emotions roll right back, just like back to day one, and none of the family members thought we would feel like that, but it's something that you can't even control. Everybody felt almost like it was the same day again.
I'm curious as to why it feels that way again.
I can't explain it. It would just have to be one of those things that you would have to go through to feel that. Just reliving all of those emotions again. That's the main thing. We have to, we think we getting through it. We think we healing, and then like something peels that scab back. And, it kind of makes it bleed again. So that's the best way that I can kind of put that as an analogy.
Sure. You have been present on social media since Friday. Why do you feel it's important to be so vocal?
It's important because if you need to be heard, if you're silent, you'll never be heard, And I make sure when I speak and when I post, I try my hardest to post the right things and never hate. Even though we're hurting, we still never want to put that hurt on anybody else.
I think one of the things that maybe was, I don't want to say surprising. I'll say maybe the thing that was perhaps most eye-catching is you defending the, maybe I'm using that word loosely, but the woman who was driving, as we know, was vehicle 2, who collided with Mr. Hall's vehicle. And since a lot of this information has come out, I think maybe a lot of people have maybe shifted to think that young lady, that woman might have been responsible. But you have, in a way, defended her or encouraged people not to go after her. Why?
Not only her, a lot to do with her family. And the family would have to feel a lot of what Kyren's family feel. When something like that, it doesn't just impact that person. The people that are closest to them, the people that love them, that had nothing to do with that actual event, they're impacted by looking at their loved one hurting. So I made a post the other day kind of defending her, and it's crazy because me not even knowing, her dad inboxed me saying that he kind of appreciated, what I said, about his daughter, and come to find out, I've been knowing the girl, I've been knowing her dad for years.
Oh, really?
I've been knowing her family for years. So in that, me finding that I knew, her family, I talked to Matt, and I'm like, Matt, you think that young lady's gonna get in any trouble? And Matt told me he just in talking, he was like, Kenny, I'm so confident that that young lady won't get in any trouble. That if she felt like she would get in trouble, I would represent her. Just saying in passing, like that's how confident that he was that, she's not going to get in any trouble. So I just didn't want another family to have to go through the pain that we going through without the due diligence. The process is still not even over, and we don't even know, the total outcome of this. And just like people demonized Kyren before the outcome came, that's kind of an oxymoron to do the same thing right back to somebody else. So I kind of feel like, it's best to let the due diligence be done. Let the law take care of itself, and whatever comes of that comes of that. But before then, we can't demonize a person before we know everything. Yeah. We have to know everything.
Matt, I know you wanted to respond, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the fact of the matter is simple. I know it upset Kenny. I saw what he posted about him. Like, oh, here we go, right? But there's a lot of truth to what he's saying. When he's asking me about it, well, first of all, her ticket, that's been dismissed, right? Could they actually bring other charges? Sure. Will they, practically speaking? No. No shot. So if that's any consolation to someone, because the truth of the matter is, this is difficult for everybody involved. Everybody involved, right? So, I mean, it's just, I understand where his heart is. Like, I get it. I don't know how else to reassure him, and I can't. I'm not the prosecuting authority here, but I'd be floored if they did. That doesn't mean I condone. It doesn't mean I don't question everything about a statement. I'm not getting into that today. But as a human, I get it, right? So, man, I'm going to be mad at him for defending her. It's from the heart. And by defend, we mean feelings and exactly what they went through. I watched it on social media. I watched somebody get crucified. We all deal with it. I'll get crucified. This girl's getting crucified. Is what it is, right? But it's just, we understand where it's coming from after going through it for some time.
If you don't mind, I'm just going to ask you to pull that mic just a little bit closer. I apologize. On Friday, when the district attorney's findings, the interview that Attorney Ory gave on HTV 10, it feels very much like the public sentiment. Where I think you all had said, I don't want to use it, but if people had maybe convicted in public Kyren, feels like the public sentiment dramatically shifted. Do you feel that way since Friday?
I feel it has, but at the end of the day, people are going to still have their opinions. They can see whatever they want to see. They can see the evidence. They can see actual video. But, people are going to believe what they want to believe. It's nothing that you can do or change. If we looking at the exact same thing on the video and we see the exact same thing, sometimes people are going to have different opinions. You can't change that. Mm-hmm. That's just the way the world is. And it's not going to change. People are going to have different opinions, so we can't change that. That's just the way I feel about that. No matter how I feel, people are going to feel different than me.
Did you have something to add?
I know exactly what he's talking about. It doesn't matter what I say. The statement I just said, somebody's going to come after me multiple. So how are you defending? I'm not defending. I'm not condoning. Your statement is your statement. That's not changing. That was done a long time ago. But I'm still a human, sure. Right? And my whole position's been the whole time, this is a civil case, not a criminal case. That's why I tell them, if I was in her shoes and outside of a conflict situation, which I'm hypothetically speaking when I say it, that's a case that I look at going, all right, I mean, I could deal with that too, because I believe it's a civil case, right? I'm not saying I don't believe that you are the primary factor as in her, the contributing, not contributing, you are the primary cause. That doesn't mean I'm not a human. But you've already said what you said. I don't expect that to ever change, and time will come where these people have to answer for it. But they're still humans.
You're talking about the statement she gave that was released by LSP, Louisiana State Police, that body cam footage today.
Yeah, but I mean that amongst others. You guys didn't see everything else, obviously.
Sure.
Right, but in our position, we'll deal with it as it comes. The point is, there's humans involved, and nobody's cutting anyone's slack. Same thing with the officer. I'll catch it all the time. You need to prosecute. You need to be pushing prosecution. They will do their job. It's my job to put the facts in place. They will do their job. I'm not the prosecuting authority there. You think I don't want full justice? Of course I do. Of course. But I'm okay being me on the side too, saying this is reality. There are people's lives, people that he knows. Right? That's why he's so affected yesterday. I didn't, I talked to him after fact, but he called and asked me. And I don't mind telling him, in the criminal world, aside from any statements, I'm talking about if she were to be charged with, Kyren were to be charged with. I'd be floored if that happened. But that's not what we're about, right? I'm not here to say you need to be prosecuted. My job is to show you he should not have been prosecuted for negligent homicide, right? It's been my position from day one. It's a civil case, not a criminal case. So, there's a human aspect to it. And when he knows somebody involved, I can't blame him for that.
Gentlemen, I need to grab a quick break. I want to come back and continue this conversation because there's a lot of people I know listening or watching who care deeply for Kyren and would love to hear much more about the Lacy family and what's gone on in these last 6 months, certainly. So we'll knock out a quick break and we'll continue with Kenny Lacy and Matt Ory here on AFR.
AFR.
I love being partnered with great people, and Duplessis Builders is certainly in that. Now, incidentally, I get to tell this story while Kenny's here. So Kyren, of course, had an NIL deal with Duplessis, and that's one of the many times I got to interact with Kyren. I was doing a lot of the NIL deals that we did. And Duplessis has given back yet again. Derek's a great guy, and they have their Dream Pool sweepstakes. Derek Duplessis has given away a pool. All you have to do to enter is go to 1045ESPN.com, 1045ESPN.com, donate $25 to Dreams Come True of Louisiana. Dreams Come True grants dreams for children in Louisiana facing life-threatening or terminal illnesses. Make a $25 donation, you're automatically entered into that sweepstakes to win a dream pool from Duplessis Builders. Another great way that Duplessis has given back to this community. It's duplessisbuilders.net. Again, if you want to learn more online, duplessisbuilders.net.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Men, age is just a number.
Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Tiger Country is 100.7 The Tiger. In the car on 100.7 FM or on the 100.7 The Tiger app.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I'm glad to have you aboard with us here on this Tuesday edition of AFR. We do appreciate Kenny Lacy and Matt Ory for being in studio with us here. Gentlemen, we know earlier today that Louisiana State Police did release video, which I assume is part of, and Matt, maybe you can just clarify just so the verbiage, so I know that I don't misspeak here. Part of their evidence, their findings, the video that was released today,
Yeah.
because what you went through on Friday was the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's evidence, correct?
Right, but that evidence that we went through was all part of that package. There's nothing in there I haven't seen, not a thing.
Okay.
None of that surprised me, none of it, nothing. Doesn't change a single thing.
Does what was the reaction to the Louisiana State Police video that was released today?
I have no idea. My reaction?
For you.
My reaction was that's the exact same thing that Matt said was going to happen. He said that's the only thing the only other video that they could possibly show, and it was just showing him the same amount of feet. Whatever the amount of feet was, it showed exactly what he said. He always said from the start that Kyren did pass cars when he shouldn't have been passing cars, but that it also showed him after he passed those cars getting back in his lane.
Yeah, I mean,
just like he said.
Travers Mackel, I had done an interview with him today addressing the rebuttal to the, if you want to call it rebuttal, the response to State Police's video. Look, I saw the video. You'll hear my response to the video. I know the video, that the sound on the video is not in unison with the actual actions.
Correct.
I know that for a fact. That's in the district attorney's findings. I stated it. I read it from the district attorney's report today, right? The witness that came on, of course I know him. That's also the same one that stated that Kyren went through the vehicle. That changes absolutely nothing, right? None of that did. They talked about his attorney he called. That's his buddy.
No, not Kyren. Yeah. The attorney that they talking about that Kyren called, that is Kyren's stepdad.
Right.
It's Kyren's stepdad. And at the time that Kyren called, I had just got off of the phone with Kyren, and Kyren let you know.
Right.
So we know.
Yeah, like this isn't a surprise. The phone call they didn't talk about before was to Kenny. What they didn't tell you is that's Kyren's little brother's dad who he was with. And he calls him his stepdad.
Right.
He and his mother were together. I don't even know if they were married, but they were together.
They were together. Yeah. Like you
5
said,
to 7
that's
years.
Kyren's little brother's dad.
They talk
all the time.
All the time. But that's not how that was made to look.
Anytime Kyren called me and got any information from me, I told him if he needed to, she could call him too. That's how good I felt about him talking to that guy.
For those that might have missed, the way it was presented today, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that a few minutes after this incident that Kyren called an attorney. What you're saying is that was his stepdad.
Family.
He talks to all the time.
He calls him all the time.
And Kyren had a passenger in the vehicle. That was his brother.
Yep.
Who was never questioned as well in the investigation?
No. Never. Not once. Look, Matt, I'll just keep it here. This is the last time we're getting on air for a very long time. Unless something radical happens. We've done a good job of keeping that at bay. If you think that's all that I only have so much time in an interview or on air. But if you think that's it, that's not. I mean, look, there's a witness at the scene that I know about, that they interviewed, that I'm telling you is beneficial to our case. That didn't make it to the report, right?
Why not?
I don't know. You tell me, right? But these are all things that are coming. I don't have a statement from him. I don't have a report from him. There's so much more coming that we can take tiny pieces, but we're not going to sit here and act as if we are just cherry picking what we want. And that's what I addressed today. You're right, we're cherry picking insofar as that I only have a limited amount of time. I hope the entire investigation is let out. That bothers me none. What I'm telling you is what you saw in that video is not what you expected to see, right? When you initially opened it, right? So
the video today from State Police?
Well, the video yesterday, and then the video today, right? But that video does confirm everything that was said. How do you think that we now get the data that we can tell you how far someone is from the accident, how far someone is when they get back to lane of travel? This was all, none of this, it was all talked about. I told you he was going in excess of 80. I told you he passed 4 cars. I told you the witness that came in and said the green Charger also stated that he was the one who went in between the two vehicles. I told you that. Why is this a surprise? Yet, now we're using a video that is noted in the district attorney's report that states it is not in sync with the audio and the video are not in sync. But we're using that now to show that he was closest to the crash when they're telling you it wasn't in sync. You know, so I get it, man. They got to respond. That's fine. But that didn't do anything.
Kenny, do you, and I'm being very respectful here because I know we've spoken, there's some things relating to the case that you can't answer, and I'm very respectful of that. So there's things I would like to ask that I know we can't discuss. But Kenny, as a father, and in particular, I know the thing that's probably most jarring for people is the body cam footage of the driver of the gold truck and the state trooper, the coercive nature of the questioning, and then the inconsistencies of what he said on the body cam footage and what is written in the report. I think everybody by now has seen that, and that is the most gigantic question. That's your son. How do you feel seeing that transpire? How do you reconcile that?
You can't reconcile it. You can't bring my son back. No reconciliation. None. All we could do is stay strong and make sure this don't happen to nobody else, child. Ain't no reconciliation. Never gonna see my child again. Ever. Ever. So, it's no reconciliation. We just want justice. That's it. Justice. Whatever that is, we just want justice. That's it.
What's the next step to wanting justice? And I think most people agree with that. I think there are so many people, that me included, that have real, very legitimate questions and concerns after seeing how this has played out over all the evidence that's come to light. What is, Matt, maybe you can shed some light. What is next? What's the process? What's next?
We need to demand a neutral and unbiased independent investigation of this thing. At the end of the day, look, you never convinced me that what you saw in body cam, from suggesting what to say. Why do you need something to fit your narrative? And then someone comes back to you and gives you the something, they stop you, right? That you can see. I'm not telling you this. You watched it. That is not close to what they said. And if you can explain to me how that's okay, I'm waiting for the answer, man, because that's justice. Accountability. What are you going to do to hold someone accountable? Because there's no way around that. Can you agree with me there? There is no way around from what you heard to what was stopped to the statement that was given to what landed in an affidavit. That's your critical witness, man. But we're going to throw smoke over this and show me a video that I knew existed that the audio is not even correct on. You understand? So, look, that's what we do. We demand, we pray for the most sincere investigation that we can get, if that makes sense. That's what we pray for, right? And we pray that people are held accountable and it doesn't happen again. And who knows what we find next, right? Who knows? But that's all you can ask for. I mean, that doesn't happen again. That's what we're after. We're going to make sure this does not happen again, and remember that Kyren Lacy is remembered.
Does that investigation come from the Attorney General's office?
That's what they're saying.
Or is there another place where that can originate?
No, it's going to come from the AG's office. We would hope that somebody else can come in, but per protocol, as of right now, it's the AG's office. And look, we're not here to say they won't do a fair job. We don't know that. I have no reason to believe otherwise, but I will know. I know what I know. I saw what I saw. You saw what you saw, right? So we'll see what comes of that. And we have to put our trust in these people and our elected officials that they're going to do the right thing. And let's see what they got.
Matt, you also said that there's more that you've seen. Why haven't we, the public, seen what else is out there?
There's just a lot of it that you try to keep. There's so many people involved, right? I mean, you try to drum it down to keep it as simple as possible early. There's a time and place for everything else to come out. And like I said, I invite it. They want the whole foul to come out, be my guest. You know, it doesn't matter to me. You could dump the whole foul out tomorrow. But let them be the ones to do it.
I mean, there's so many questions. You watched the LSP video today, and there's someone on the scene who says there's a broken ankle and 2 injured backs. I mean, it stands to reason that would be Mr. Hall and his passenger. Were they ever spoken to at any point? I mean, there's so many things. You mentioned the ticket for the woman in vehicle 2 that was then rescinded.
Yeah.
Why was that ticket rescinded?
I don't know, but that's my point. So we don't know, and that was done how long ago now, right? That's why when Kenny asked if this thing's going to be pressed, Kenny, that is over. They're not going to go back now. Could they? Sure. Will they? No. But what I do know is that ticket is gone.
You mentioned the gentleman in the video today who was one of the eyewitnesses. He and the lady in vehicle 2 both insisted that the man in the gold truck was stomping on brakes, which we now know from black box forensic data that never happened.
Never happened.
So is that just a heat of the moment thing at a crash scene where someone is trying to piece together?
Look, I'll kind of wrap it up with this. This is how things happen. You see a charger pass. They're going above the speed limit. A crash happens ahead. It's natural to assume he caused a crash. But remember, the very first one of the gentlemen you're talking about is one that said he went through. So what do you do with that, right? And then our next one is someone who is behind the vehicle. Do you know what she heard for those first few minutes? You have no idea. You don't know what's suggested, but I would be paying attention myself, right? You go with it. That's how things start. That's how they snowball. But if you just backtrack, you say, well, we know now nobody stopped, nobody stomped on the brake. So you saw this. You saw a car coming at you, but you never tapped your brakes, right? And still, in my opinion, that's where I go back to this is that still doesn't, even in her situation, it needs to be in the civil arena, right? It's careless driving. Unfortunately, it happens every day. That's why I've screamed at the top of my lungs. That's why it's important to talk about that. So it's not defending her. It's simply saying if she's not even charged, now you know what you know. How was he charged?
Yeah.
And she should. Look, I'm going to answer him honestly when he asks me. Is she, in my opinion, no. In the criminal world. That doesn't mean it gives you a pass to say what you said, but maybe she was influenced, right? There's a lot for you to see. You don't know what's going to come out. But we'll let it play its course as we deem necessary.
Kenny, a good place to wrap, obviously, would be an opportunity to remember Kyren, who in the many times I had to interact with him, I was found to be a joyful young guy. Do you feel this is obviously a way where a father is trying to remember his son and to have people know the truth to come out? And I think everyone with a pulse can respect that. But have you thought about how you want people to remember your son? Is that something that's a part of this for you?
No doubt about it. Through this whole ordeal, the people who had no idea of the kind of person that Kyren was, those were the main people that were trying to paint him to be this such monster. But Kyren was a kid at heart. He was a kid. When I say a kid, he could go in a room full of kids and light the room up just because of his energy. Kyren can go in a room full of grown-ups and light the room up because of his energy. He can go in a room full of elderly people and just his energy will light the room up. He just had an energy that you can't explain. And the people who judged him without knowing him, I wish you could have met him. I promise, he would have changed your mind. He wasn't a bad person. Before Kyren left here, he told me how bad he felt for the Hall family. All that he was going through, all what he was going through, he still felt for that man's family. That's on everything that I love. He told me that. He said that they shouldn't have to be going through this. That's the type of person he was.
Kenny, I appreciate you for coming in. On one hand, I know it can't be easy to talk about any of this. But the other hand, I mean, as a father, talking about your son is how you keep his memory alive. And I sincerely appreciate you for taking the time. I know there are legalities and things that we can't discuss and won't discuss publicly. So I very much try to be respectful of that. But I think this is an important conversation to have, and I appreciate both of you for taking the time to come in today and for having it for our audience. And Matt, I know you said that you only have so much time in an interview. I'll tell you candidly, as much time as you want here. You want to talk for 3 hours, you come on, we'll talk forever. And whatever you want to say, and we'll talk for
Matt,
hours on end.
I understand, but the amount of hate that's going around right now, you got to understand that there is a part of me that's human that says, it's got to stop. Why do you think he was doing what he was doing yesterday? It gets to me too. That's the whole point of this. So that's why you don't say a lot right now. You're subjecting one more person. Like, justice will come, I promise you. But people's lives are just getting across the board. It's tough, man. Very tough.
Well, it seems pretty clear as the Attorney General has announced she plans to launch an independent review. Clearly, there's more data and evidence that we haven't seen yet that will, I would assume, eventually become public. I don't think this story is, it feels like we're very much just scratching the surface on it. But for both of you taking the time to come here today and have this conversation, I do sincerely thank you. We'll grab a quick break and we'll continue here on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. It's williamsoneye.com. You're thinking of maybe getting LASIK. The Williamson Eye Center can take great care of you. Not just LASIK, PRK, custom lens replacement. Effectively, if you want to get rid of contacts and glasses forever, the Williamson Eye Center can make that happen. So call 924-2020 to set up that free, no-obligation consultation with the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020. Call Dr. Blake Williamson. Call his office over there. Say it all the time. It's eye care, eyewear, and eye surgery. So if you want to get that eye exam, they can do it. Contacts or glasses, they can update your prescription there. But if you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever and just wake up in the morning and be able to see, the Williamson Eye Center can make that happen. 924-2020, 924-2020, or online at williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
We continue here on a Tuesday edition of AFR Powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Many thanks again to Kenny Lacy and Matt Ory for joining us in studio. Perhaps this is something I should have said before those two gentlemen came on, and I'll say now. I'm a full believer in transparency. My feeling is, in doing this show, that I have an obligation to you, the audience, and with this platform to be able to tell stories, and I felt my obligation was to reach out to both Matt Ory and to Kenny Lacy after last Friday to offer them at least the opportunity to come on. And I said this, I didn't think either would. And Kenny responded quickly and was going to come on the show yesterday on the phone. And a short time later, obviously, Matt reached out, just kind of wondering what direction I was taking. And so ultimately, we all decided that it was best for Matt to be here as well with Kenny. And so they came on the show together and wanted to be here in studio, which I'm very appreciative of. For both of them to drive to Baton Rouge to do this interview. We also had this conversation with the understanding that there were certain things I could not ask. And I'm very respectful of that. There are a lot of things that I would love the answer to. Some of which I floated. For example, they acknowledged it was Kyren's brother in the vehicle with Kyren. He's an eyewitness, was never interviewed. Why not? We have not yet seen evidence or any type of communication with Mr. Hall or the person driving the vehicle where he was a passenger. And I want to be so incredibly respectful. My goodness, please do not misinterpret what I'm saying. I mean, a man lost his life. That is a husband, a father, a family, and that family continues to mourn. And I know this conversation, because of Kyren's public nature, being a public figure, how this has become about Kyren, but two families are mourning. At the scene of the accident, when you hear of a fatality, our thought goes to horrible wreck. But in that Louisiana State Police video that was released today, so we have a broken ankle and 2 back injuries. You wouldn't necessarily think of that as being something that would lead to a fatality. So what happened? It's a very natural question to ask. I believe Matt Ory knows the answer to that. But because there is still an ongoing investigation, he's not going to answer that question right now. But there's things we want to get the answers to. The trooper who went and spoke to the man driving the gold truck, who was trying to coerce the testimony, and clearly there are discrepancies. Is that trooper going to have to answer for those discrepancies? These are all things that I would love the answers to, but I know we couldn't have that conversation on air. And I was willing to not ask those questions to be able to have them in studio to talk about the things we did talk about. And that's a decision I made, and I'm good with that decision, because I think the most important part of all of this, like the most important part, tip of the spear, is this accident happened, and you had a young man at 24 years old who was convicted in the court of public opinion. And I've had some people say, well, then why did he, if he was going to get off, why did Kyren take his life, and so on? And the thing that none of us knows is what's going on between someone's ears. And for someone who had an NFL future staring him in the face, and all of a sudden he's not invited to the Senior Bowl, he's not invited to the NFL Combine. He thinks maybe the thing he's worked for his whole life is taken away from him. He's not sure if he's facing charges. He's going before a grand jury. The court of public opinion had convicted him at that point. I don't even want to try to begin to assume what Kyren was going through, but anyone that's known anyone that's dealt with any type of mental health issue can appreciate the severity of that. And the tragic part of this for Kyren is it clearly all became too much for him, and now his father, his family, the people who loved him and love him have to cope and go on living the rest of their lives without him, and wondering, could I have done more? And again, the most important part, in my opinion, is the forgiveness that Kenny showed the woman in vehicle 2, as a lot of people since Friday have turned on her. She's deactivated social media. A lot of people found out her identity. They put it out there. I'm not going to say it here. You can find it if you want it. But this man is sitting here saying, don't do to this woman what people did to my son. And that's an incredibly powerful message. And I think the most important part of all this is to say, damn it, can we be nice to each other? Can we be good to each other? Can we let processes play out? Can we, how we so often are good and decent human beings, can we do that more often on social media? Can we let this be a lesson to say, let's be better? And like both of them said, there's going to be people who hear that and roll their eyes, just like people are going to judgments, but if even one person hears all of this conversation, sees this man, this grown man mourning his 6 months later, mourning his son, can we all agree that this was an awful tragedy that has forever affected two families? And let's just be better to each other. All right. So after further review, I say it often whenever we get into heavy things, it's awkward to transition. I mean, what we do here is sports, and it's supposed to be fun, and sometimes things get heavy, and this is certainly one of those times. But we'll knock out our final break. Jimmy will be here. We'll do Auto Locks to wrap up the show next.
AFR.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. Out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Auto Locks.
Auto Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Good, Matthew. How about you?
I'm doing well, man. Admittedly, here we had Kyren Lacy's dad, an attorney in studio, so we're a little short on time. So I'll just let you take it away.
Yeah, Matt Ory from way back, man.
Yeah.
Great friend of his brother.
He mentioned that.
Anyway, oh yeah, man. That's family. Doing a good thing. But last night, man, as Kansas City holds from the 3-0, but you could get plus 320 to hedge in the last one. Andy Esco hit his middle. Anyway, in a rain delay. So this game was scheduled to start at 3:08 today. Detroit and Seattle, best of 5, game 3 in Detroit. Seattle was the best team the last month and a half or so. Zoomed by the Houston Astros and finished it off by going down to Houston and sweep them in that 3-game set. They're the best team in the American League entering the postseason, even though Toronto is hot themselves. But I think they bounced back. They took care of a big hurdle on Sunday night and beat Tarek Skubal. That's just hard to do. Yeah. So I think they're in better spot. Short number here. Logan Gilbert, a little bit of an edge in the mound. Certainly an edge with the lineup going with the Mariners in game 1. Then game 2, we'll look for the Yankees to bounce back here. So getting away from that tariff-driven Toronto-based
1
crowd.
minute remaining.
They've been nasty up in Toronto, and so have the Blue Jays. I think a pitching advantage here for the Yankees with Carlos Rendon. I'm worried. Be careful. Be on the trigger. The live bet if they get that bullpen in there too early with the lead and start slipping away. But going with the Yankees. So Yankees in Seattle laying both short numbers here.
Well, the Yankees are minus $1.75.
Oh my God! Jeez, they went up to that much.
Yeah.
Woo. Lay 1 run then.
What's
Lay
that?
1 run. Cut the juice at DraftKings
okay.
Bet Rivers.
Lay 1 run.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, Otto, where are you tomorrow?
Tomorrow at Modesto on Burbank, just off of Nicholson.
All right. Jimmy, we appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, good luck.
All right, be well. Jimmy and Charlie, weekdays from 11 to 1. That's going to do it for us. If you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. Muse, Paulie, thanks. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, 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 Arco Power Systems. When we talk about Arco Power Systems, we're talking about industrial generator power. That's what we're talking about here. Generac industrial generators. So these are for your businesses. What kind of business? Doesn't matter. It could be essential operations whenever the storms come, hospitals, grocery stores, power systems, all of it. Or whatever business you have. I mean, the bottom line is when the storm comes or power goes out, being offline is not an option. So how do you stay online? Arco Power Systems. Such a massive, impressive company. I got to meet the folks over at Arco over at their office several weeks back on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge. But y'all, they got offices as far west as San Antonio, east to Mobile, north to Little Rock. They're opening in Houston. They got Dallas. I mean, they're everywhere. It's Arco Power Systems. Arco.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
Tiger Country is 100.7 The Tiger. In the car on 100.7 FM or on the 100.7 The Tiger app. 90s country and beyond. 100.7 The Tiger.